I know for me and for a lot of my girlfriends, John Mayer is one of those people who like every album he put out correlated with a different relationship in your life.
Right.
Do you feel that way
I feel that way with Kanye West. I
made that bitch famous.
That is comedian Kelsey Cook. I'm your host, Michael Malone. And this is Punched Up, a podcast about stand-up comedy that's, well, punched up.
So this was, I want to say, like maybe a month ago now, maybe a few weeks. So it's pretty fresh, still emotionally fresh. I was in Washington, D.C. with Jim Norton, who I tour with. I opened for him on the road. He was on the dais for the roast of James Carville. James Carville was like Clinton's right-hand man, this whole big thing. We got in the night before. They put us up in the Four Seasons, super beautiful, beautiful hotel. And we were having dinner in the restaurant of Four Seasons. And as we finished, I looked at the table behind us and I'm like, isn't that Louis Anderson? And Jim's like, oh my God. So he's like, Louis, and we go over there. I guess Louis has been like this great person in Jim's career. Like as Jim was coming up, Louis gave him his first TV break. And then Louis like, hey, you guys should go around to the other side of the restaurant because a whole group just came in. I turned the corner and at this table is Bob Saget, Jeff Ross, Gilbert Gottfried, Melissa Rivers, who's Joan Rivers' daughter, and John motherfucking Mayer. In your brain, there's no preparation for it's comedians. So you're like, why is John Mayer here?
Right.
Like there was no warning given. Bob gets up and Jeff gets up and they come over and say hi to Jim and I. They're like, how's it going or whatever. And I think Bob could just see me staring at John Mayer. I'm like the biggest John Mayer fan. I've been a fan since Room for Squares, like his first album. I know every song, just crazy fanatical John Mayer fan. John, have you met Kelsey? She's incredibly talented. I'm so unprepared that I say out loud to nobody. I just go, oh, fuck. If you would have told a 7th grade Kelsey that at some point in her life, she would be introduced to John Mayer by Bob Saget as incredibly talented, I would have like jumped off a bridge because I couldn't. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. So I shake his hand. I shake John Mayer's hand. John is talking about that when he's at the Comedy Cellar, he just is watching Jeff Ross and Dave Attell roast people and how fun it is. And he goes, he's like, yeah, it's pretty funny. At one point, Jeff pulled me on stage and he said something like, what do you do to turn a girl on, John? And I was like, oh, I just spell I am John Mayer on her clit. I black out. I am teetering around like a weeble wobble, like about to just faint. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. He can totally say that because people are like, oh, he's like a womanizer and he's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, of fucking course he is. He's John Mayer. If I was John Mayer, I would fuck anything. I would fuck that plant. I would fuck everything I saw because I could. I would do that till I was like 85 years old. I would never stop. So of course, like I really get turned off by guys who are very, very full of themselves and like, ugh, I hate that. But for some reason when he said that, I was like, oh, mother of God, get inside me. Get in here. I'm just standing there telling my brain, like, make normal faces and normal noises. Just be a human being right now.
So as Kelsey and Jim are talking to John Mayer, an older gentleman joins the conversation. He's got long gray hair and a beautiful woman on his side.
You can see this whole table of like celebs turn and be like, oh my God, hi. But I don't know who this guy is. I reach out and shake his hand and they're like, Kelsey, this is Bob Weir. And I'm like, oh, it's great to meet you. And I'm like, I don't know who Bob Weir Weir is.
Right.
You know, I can tell by your face, you know who Bob Weir is, like founding member of Grateful Dead, but I had no idea. Anyway, we basically we say goodnight to them. I shake John's hand one more time, and then I go back up to my hotel room.
Once Kelsey gets back to her bedroom, she has a realization, and that is all of the guests that she just mentioned, John Mayer and Bob Saget and everybody, they're all staying on the same floor. Yeah. So
I'm sitting there in my bedroom and I'm like, oh my God, like he's gonna be sleeping in a bed just like somewhere down the hall from me. Like this is insane. I start to play some of his songs because I'm just like, I can't believe I just met him. I just want to listen to some of his music right now. I start to play some of the songs and I just start like weeping gently by myself in bed at like 1 a.m. because I've never met a famous singer like that before, somebody who I'm a huge fan of.
Somebody that's affected you in that way.
Yeah. And he looked like he's gone through some different phases of looks, you know, where he's had like really long hair and some kind of like crazy mustaches or whatever. He was like heavier things, John Mayer. Do you ever have songs that you just can't listen to for like years after a breakup? You listen to the lyrics, you're like, this is about me and Tim. Like this is, and I'm just sitting there, tears streaming down my face. Come Back to Bed is like, oof, that's a feeler. That's a good one. I think that's the one I lost my virginity to. What can I do? Maybe if I go back, maybe they're still down there. Maybe if I go back down there wearing like a hot dress.
The next young lady I got coming to the stage, she is very funny. She's on the come up. She was on Laughs on Fox. Y'all give it up right now big for Kelsey Cook.
Not only is my dad a pro football player, he's also a slam poetry champion and an international yo-yo man. Yeah. So I'll give all the ladies in here a second for your panties to dry off. It's like, Jesus Christ, Dad, could you have a more unsexual resume? Like, here's a sentence you'll never hear a woman say. Oh my God, Sarah, do you see that man at the bar doing the walk the dog with the yo-yo? I bet he's like a finger-banging wizard.
I wake up the next morning. I meet Jim down in the lobby. We decide to get lunch back in that same restaurant. I look like a girl who's just fallen in love for the first time. I'm just smiling like an idiot. I'm just grinning. Jim is like, ugh, you. Just like so disgusted with me. At one point, and he knows what's going on. At one point, he looks just past my shoulder and goes, hey man, I whip my head around so fast, I could have broken my neck. The only person there is an old Jewish man having soup with his napkin tucked into his shirt, like full old Jewish man style. There's like stages of grief.
Yeah.
I was going through stages of John Mayer. Like I was like in shock, and then I was like crying, and now I'm just giddy and like alert. And anyway, so we finish our meal, still no sign of him. I'm like, come on, man, come on. There's still hope. There's still hope. I'll get to see him one more time. Maybe I can get like more of a conversation with him.
Right. So after breakfast, Kelsey and Jim head to the lobby to increase their odds of a John Mayer sighting, if you will. And there they meet up with somebody from the group.
Jim mentions like, oh, Kelsey's like on high alert for John Mayer. She's hoping to run into him again. He's like, oh, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Just like a total nut job.
After catching up for a few minutes, Jim suggests they change locations.
Let's pop outside for a second and see if there's somewhere to sit on this patio. We walk outside onto this patio for, I'm not kidding, maybe 12 seconds. We look around. That area of the restaurant is closing down. They're like, there's really nowhere to sit. We're like, okay, no problem, thank you. We walk back into the lobby. The guy that we were just speaking to goes, oh, you just missed him.
No.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, he literally, he just came down the elevator with his bodyguard and they just went and got right on the tour bus. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. Jim turns and looks at me and he goes, oh, Kels. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was my fault. Oh, Kels, I'm so sorry. And I had sunglasses on the top of my head and I just slowly put them down as like tears start streaming down my cheeks from underneath these sunglasses. And you know when like you're trying to hold back tears, but then somebody is almost like allowing you to cry more because they're like, I'm so sorry, that was my fault. Like they're giving you permission. So out of nowhere, I start crying tears that are like so, they're coming from so deep. It's like unresolved issues with like my parents' divorce. Jim is like, oh my God. He's like, oh my God, just come here. I'm so sorry. I am pouring snot and tears and every sort of water into Jim's shoulder. It's a miracle he still is my friend and that I still work for him, because I feel like that was the mark of somebody that needed to get on some medication at that moment. Like somebody who's so invested in their time spent with John Mayer that she has like a complete emotional breakdown. Fortunately, Jim is one of those guys who's like also very into meeting his idols. Like he's like the world's biggest Ozzy Osbourne fan and Kiss fan. And so he was comforting me and like, trust me, like, you know, I know how hard it is. Like, I know how like worked up you can get when you're meeting your idols. Like, I get it or whatever. He was very understanding. Needless to say, I came back home and told some friends, and they were like, what is wrong with you? Like, pull it together. Like, do you need new birth control? Maybe you need to switch to an IUD.
My name's Kelsey, which is a very trashy Girls Gone Wild type of name, right? It could be worse. I have a friend who just had a baby and named her Legna, which is angel backward. Vomit. Whew. But I have a nickname that I like to call Legna. I like to call her Tenetica, which is accident backward. Yeah. She'll figure it out someday.
Like, it's so different than if you got backstage passes to a John Mayer concert and you knew that you were going to meet him. And you can wear the outfit, wear your John Mayer outfit, you know, have your conversation opener ready. It's so different than when you turn the corner. I was wearing like mom jeans. I was greasy. I'd been traveling. I was like all denim. I was like denim head to toe. Not like planning on running into one of my biggest like music idols and sex gods. I have a feeling I will run into him again at some point because he hangs out at comedy clubs.
Right.
He likes the comedy scene. I feel like I'll run into him again. And I'm good enough at being like on autopilot to be like, be cool. And I would be cool. And I would be chill. But like, the aftermath, as you heard, is crazy person tears.
That was comedian Kelsey Cook talking about meeting John Mayer. I love the story. It was so much fun hearing about the crazier side of Kelsey and getting to hear the softer side of Jim Norton. You know, it was just a lot of fun. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Kelsey. I hope you guys enjoyed it. One more thing. I asked Kelsey if if she were to write a Misconnections about John Mayer, what it would sound like. So I thought it would be appropriate to close on that. Thanks for listening.
Dear Brown Eyes Big Dick, we met briefly. I was dressed like Kate Gosling. And I just want you to know that I think your body is a wonderland. Forever yours, Soccer Mom.
I'd like to thank my guest today, comedian Kelsey Cook. You can catch her on tour with Jim Norton on his Mouthful of Shame tour this fall, or you could check her out on a podcast called Cooked. It's on iTunes and everywhere else podcasts are available. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe.
Thank you for listening. Punched Up is a Glass Hammer production, created and hosted by Michael Malone. The clips you heard of the guest are all released and licensed through them personally. The music you heard is a mixture from Incompetech.com and PremiumBeats.com, the best place to find what you need for your next video audio project. Other clips are licensed through YouTube or our public domain. This episode was mixed by James Warburton Music. Find out more, visit us online at punchedup.com.